Beautiful music there by Carlos Kiba. Carlos Kiba always entertaining us every Monday morning right here on Power Breakfast. We continue our news review this morning, and we want to wrap up with page 6 of the Daily Nation. There are two interesting headlines there. One has to do with the ICC, the other one with the tussle over NASA city woman representative. Let's talk about ICC. ICC hopes to revive Uhuru and Ruto cases. Now, the International Criminal Court hopes that investigations into cases against President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto will be revived if they lose the August election. This according to ICC senior lawyer Anton Steinberg, who says the court expects a new regime to cooperate to The Hague in the crimes against humanity cases, which were weakened by attacks on witnesses and the government's failure to provide vital documents. Now, this statement has reignited debates, or rather comments, on campaign platforms across the country. Yesterday, Njoro MP Joseph Kuna told the opposition not to revive the memories of the 2007-2008 violence. Note, it is not NASA that has said reviving the ICC cases. It is an ICC lawyer, but it is already becoming a matter of on the campaign platforms. The leader of majority in Parliament, Honorable Aidan Duale, also mentioned something to do with the ICC during the rally by President Uhuru Kenyatta. I think it was in at Poster Grounds in Bungoma at the weekend as well. Now, of course, the ICC issue was probably one of the biggest galvanizing debates that led to the Uhuru Ruto win back in 2013. Are you seeing an attempt at trying to revive the ICC issue and making it a campaign agenda this time around, Deputy Governor?
Well, the senior lawyer from the ICC says that, and the only motivation I would think that he'd say that is he thinks that maybe the president and the deputy president used their officers to make sure that the ICC cases died, and that's why he's saying if another new government comes, he says next or next after next, that they will still reopen those cases. My personal opinion is that that's a train that left. It greatly divided this country. The post-election violence ICC cases, they were not investigated or prosecuted well. The cases died, and I think they should remain dead and buried and not be revived by anybody, because we don't need that kind of division in this country. But just right now,
just a suggestion that a new regime, if at all we get a new regime, that those cases will be revived. Do you think it's enough to actually reignite memories of?
I'm glad that you clearly stated that it's not NASA that's bringing up that debate, and that it's not NASA asking for the cases to be revived. It is coming from ICC. For me, it's unfortunate that it's coming at this time, because it's going to take away the objectiveness of Kenyans in deciding who they want their leader to be. Because you noticed in 2013, the main driving point that brought the current presidency into power was the ICC case. And we heard what Isaac Ruto said the other day, that when they voted in 2013, the vote was not based on good leadership. The vote was based on saving Ruto and saving the president from being jailed, yes, okay, or being imprisoned by ICC. So Kenyans did not choose their president or their leaders based on what they actually thought of them, or the good quality, or based on the good, what they thought they had as good qualities, but they voted on emotions. So now that this is coming at the time when we're just about to go into elections, it's going to cloud the minds of Kenyans again.
Could it revive those emotions? It
could revive emotions, even if it's not to the extent that it's played in 2013, but it could actually play to some extent that, oh, if these people lose, they're going to be jailed. So then it brings in that aspect of, let us vote them in to protect them. And then we end up losing, because look at what happened. We voted in the president and the deputy president based on emotions to save them from being imprisoned. But what sort of government have they given us? What sort of governance has the country experienced? Very, very poor governance.
Do you think it should be necessary for NASA to contain this kind of perception by coming out clearly and saying what they will do if at all they take over?
I think
with regards to this?
No, I think it's not NASA's agenda. It's absolutely not NASA's agenda. But NASA needs to come out in the open to make the public know that this is not coming from them. Because remember, there's also propaganda, and the deputy president is very good in propaganda. So he could turn, he could turn this around and say that NASA is saying that if they get to power, they're going to, so they need to come out in the open and clear the air that this is not, they have nothing to do with this, and this is an ICC agenda and not theirs agenda.
ICC is very important.
Even before that, it might not even be an ICC agenda. The newspaper just reports that it is a senior ICC lawyer. We even have Kenyans who are senior ICC lawyers who go there to defend cases. So it could be somebody who's just been given something to propagate this propaganda.
Yes.
But you ask a question. Will the NASA government revive this? Nope. When the NASA government...
My question was, do you think that NASA should come out clearly and say that this is what we will do if and when we take it?
Absolutely, because this case is about public interest. And I can tell you, it's not in the public interest in this country for the ICC cases to be revived by anybody. So even if the NASA government came into power and there was a suggestion for the ICC cases to be revived, and our manifesto as a NASA team is based on public interest, then we would not support the revival of these cases because it just isn't in public interest.
Yes. Do you think this kind of propaganda, if at all it is propaganda, is really necessary even for Jubilee this time round, reviving the ICC debate?
First of all, I don't think this is propaganda. I believe in what is contained in this article, because the person who is quoted is Anton Steinberg. He is one of the prosecutors, senior prosecutors at ICC. And I'm sure he was working on stating this in his official capacity. The other thing is that I stated this show again, that you cannot paint a chameleon. You paint it red, because of a grass becomes green again. This has been ODM agenda from 2013-2011. The idea of ICC was to creep competition, to creep Uhuru, to creep William Ruto from the competition. So now they formed sort of a partnership with ICC. Now they have gone. Let me say this.
Ridiculous.
No, it's ridiculous, as you say, because you're not achieving objectives, of course. But so what I'm saying is that this implies that if, in the unlikely event that NASA gets into office, it will be a puppet government.
Do you think it's necessary?
It will be a puppet government. It's a puppet government, which will be told, let's do this for these goals. And also, it will be a puppet government that can use any institution, either ICC or otherwise, to achieve.
Do you think it is necessary to revive that debate right now, that even politicians, either in Jubilee or NASA, should be talking about the ICC?
If you look at this article, even my name appears there because I was in this meeting. And people are very concerned about these ICC issues. This is the liaison on the ground.
So we should be talking about it.
We should talk about it, and we should ask why. And what is the interest of this ICC with the supposedly incoming new government? What is the interest? What interest that ICC have on Kenya?
Fred, we are not going to go back into this debate. Remember,
let's go
listen, don't be vague, go to The Hague. That was never an ODM statement. That was a statement from URP and TNA. Yes, when Kenyans tried to have these people tried in Kenya. So it could not have been an ODM agenda, because ODM actually wanted the cases tried here, but they screamed and said, don't be vague, go to The Hague. If we want to really think and discuss whose interest this case would be, it would actually be in the interest of Jubilee to try to revive these cases. Why? Because they know they won on the emotions of the people in 2013 based on the ICC question, and now they see that this competition is not going too much into their favor, seeing that they thought that they would be on a 70+1, but now they're seeing that is not happening. So let's pop up something. Let's pop ICC back so that we can get a bit of our people, because remember, we're saying there's a lot of apathy because everybody is hungry. The Kikuyus are hungry, the Luos are hungry, the Kambas are hungry, the Asians are, everybody in Kenya is hungry. So everybody in Kenya is feeling the results or effect of bad governance of this government. So what do? Let's try and bring back that ICC to see if we can salvage or work on people's emotions again. So if a writer brings this up, This is a Jubilee agenda. It has nothing to do with NASA. It has
I don't think
who did the shuttle diplomacy? Kalonzo Musyoka?
Yeah.
He went around all the countries.
Yes.
Shuttle diplomacy saying that there should be no ICC in Kenya.
That's interesting because
right?
Kalonzo Musyoka,
why would he as a top people in NASA want to bring something like this?
There are two issues here which I want to raise before we close this debate because we want us to close. First of all, the issue of shuttle diplomacy by Kalonzo. Kalonzo did shuttle diplomacy and he tightened all the boards to ensure that Uhuru is fixed. He was ambitious. The other thing is, I'm saying, so he tightened all the boards. That's it is. And the other thing is this ICC thing.
It only appears that the ICC debate boosts really supports Jubilee more, or rather, what's more on Jubilee?
The argument is that there was no lack of cooperation from the sitting government. What more cooperation they want if a whole sitting head of state can take himself to a courtroom and listen and answer charges? What type of cooperation do they require? And if the issue is closed, what interest do they have to open it up?
This article is for Jubilee so that they can inject fear and apprehension amongst its voters who are not going to vote for them because they've suffered like all the Kenyans, so that they feel a bit of excitement and fear and they come out to vote for Uhuru and Ruto so that, my God, ICC does not take them to jail.
I think NASA should just address the issue and say why they are pushing
NASA
this
is not
agenda.
in government.
My sister, I'm so
because of time I want us to move to the last line.
It is very important. NASA should explain to Kenyans why they are pushing this agenda once again.
But we are NASA and we are here and we have told
the story has not
in our public interest.
If you see one cockroach, there are many more hiding.
Okay, let's wrap up today's news review with this final headline. Still on page 6, the story is right next to this one for the ICC. Tussle over NASA city woman representative. Now, cracks have emerged in the Nairobi County NASA team on who will be on the ballot. ODM nominated Miss Esther Passaris, while Wiper gave Rahab Ndambuki the North One seat. Jubilee Party's Rachel Shebesh. What does that do? Why do we even have two different candidates for NASA for this particular seat in Nairobi?
Because our parties did not merge to form NASA, and we didn't do zoning or joint nominations between all the 5 constituent
but notice you foresee a problem because of that.
The unity is strength, and nobody can never run away from that statement. My position has been very clear. I said it over the weekend. I'm saying it now, that we must field one NASA candidate in Nairobi.
And this story also quotes you. Nairobi Deputy Governor Jonathan Mweke cited the mistakes of 2013 when CORD lost 5 MPs and 20 MCS seats to Jubilee after fielding candidates from affiliate parties.
Absolutely. So it's just very simple, Fred. If we split our vote, first of all, we have the majority of the vote in Nairobi. Nairobi is not a battle zone. Nairobi is NASA.
I don't think you have the majority. If you want to, we can discuss that if you want.
Yes, we'll discuss that. But I'll give you the numbers why we have the majority. Why we have the majority in Nairobi in terms of voters is if you put all the constituent votes together for Nairobi, for the constituent parties together as NASA, will win 13 seats for MP, will win 55 seats for MCA. In the last election, and after I was getting those statistics that are reported in the newspaper today, we lost 5 seats. Makadara, Starehe, Kamkunji, Embakasi West, Embakasi Central. To Jubilee, because our combined votes, then we were called Ford Kenya, Wiper and ODM, all ran candidates, and we split. Now, this theory was proven true in Mathare, whereby we had a guy called Mheshimiwa Wanjohi come in against Wiper, ODM, and Ford Kenya as we had split our votes, right? Then there was a by-election, and in the by-election, CORD was clever enough to field one candidate. So Wiper stepped down their candidate, which was Mr. Mbui. Ford Kenya stepped down their candidate, which was Mr. Olwoch. He's now the candidate for Mathare now. And when we all put our efforts behind Karaoke of ODM, he won. So that's a very clear statement just to show that if we put our votes in one basket, there's no way Jubilee can beat us in the city.
Are you working on probably influencing, or rather making sure one of these two ladies from the road?
Yes, we are, and we are confident it's going to happen. We are talking both to Mheshimiwa Ndambuki and Mheshimiwa Pasaris. Governor Kidero and myself have taken charge of this personally, and we're going to ensure that we field just one candidate to make sure that that seat goes to
Do you think it's
NASA.
right? Do you think it's right to have left it this late for ODM and Wiper to actually agree on this? Both women have gone through party nominations. They've spent their money. It is their individual political careers. Do you think it was right for the parties to leave it this late to actually ask either of them to step down?
Let me just comment on that quickly before I give it to my sister Rosa. It's a choice of these two ladies. You're right. It's their democratic right. But in 2013, both of them were on the ballot, and both their votes, with the other two candidates who ran on Ford Kenya and ODM, beat Shebesh. So we have a precedent that if we combine, we can beat the Jubilee side. So the choice both these ladies have to make is very simple. Either you stand one of you and you win,
or you lose,
and then we nominate the other one so that you are both in parliament, win-win, or you stand both of you and you both lose. That's the choice.
I think the choice is very clear, but it's a very difficult choice to make. One, because it's been left too late. Negotiations can be done, and negotiations is part of a way of strengthening parties.
Because the parties have presented their
so
party
that you put your best candidate forward. But now we have 57, 58 days to the election, and remember that each of these women has actually invested a lot of emotions in this campaign. They've gone through their party nominations, they've spent money, they've got supporters, and their resolve is stronger than it was before they won their party nominations. So now, it just makes negotiations more difficult. But had NASA decided to field one candidate by way of having a joint nomination, we didn't need to get to this point. But even if we did our individual nominations as affiliate parties, I think we ought to have started negotiations a while back and not now. We've left it late, and it's more difficult for somebody to come down now.
Yes.
But I know
if you are, for example, asked to step down right now,
even if for example, I was asked to step down this late, I might step down because I don't have a choice. But I will not get out and campaign for my colleague with my whole strength and my whole energy.
Even if you are to be nominated?
You know, and I want us to say this nomination process, parties are going through the party list now. By the 24th of this month, it will be closed and done with.
And if at all you're on the ballot, you cannot.
If at all you are on the ballot, of course you cannot qualify to be in that party list. So what I'm telling my dear friend is we need to, and I think that
the window is fast closing.
Yes, and I want to congratulate you and the governor for the steps you are taking towards this, but it must be serious, and it must be done now, and it must, the person who's going to step down, whether it's Pasaris or Rahab, must have that guarantee that they're stepping down, but they're on top of that party list. Because putting them number 10 or number 12 will not actually do it, because the people to be nominated will actually depend on the number of votes that the party gets. So it needs to be sorted out now, and there needs to be sincerity. But if the two of them go as NASA candidates, we definitely won't get this seat.
Final words on this, Dr. Barua, as you wrap up?
I think my take on this is that Wiper is in this coalition with a fallback strategy. They really don't trust that NASA is going to get them anywhere. That is why they want to be there in the event that they win, they get the vice president, the deputy presidency. If they don't win, they have a few counties to manage and a few members of parliament and so forth. This is a Wiper strategy. Because if NASA was serious in Nairobi, just like Jubilee, let me say for both parties, Nairobi, if you put two candidates, either in Jubilee, they lose. In NASA, they lose. So what is happening is that this, the way Mweke is talking is very indicative that the push is to have this Ndambuki nominated to parliament. So as much as they get an ODM women representative, they also have a Wiper women representative. So Wiper is very cautious and is actually using prudence to ensure that they don't lose everything, because they don't trust the relationship.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you 30 seconds each to wrap up. It's a new week. What do we expect in the headlines, Deputy Governor, going forward this week?
Expect to see political tolerance. Stories like family members killing each other because of intolerance and supporting candidates who otherwise are friends and run around laughing and drinking tea together is not welcome. So we just expect that people can be tolerant. We're asking the guys going around doing their campaigns. The governor and I are preaching peace. We are putting all the 42 communities in the city together. We are campaigning on issues, telling people what it is we've been able to do and what it is we're going to continue doing to them. Okay. And I just urge all politicians to follow our footsteps so that we can ensure that once August 8th comes and goes, we still have one indivisible country that we can all sit down, live, love, do business, and continue with our livelihoods.
Okay. I think this week we are still going to see a lot of competition between independent candidates and nominees of political parties, and we are going to see more of the political party leadership coming out to start to go where Raila started. Remember when the independent issue came, Raila was categorical that a political party's strength is measured by the numbers of people they nominate into, they get into parliament, both the National Assembly and the Senate. And therefore, he was very categorical that he, as the party leader of ODM, is going to stand by ODM candidates and he will have no room for the independents, even if they support his candidature as the president. You see that the leadership of Jubilee is now also coming to agree with what Raila stated. And you see them also coming out now to say that they're supporting people on Jubilee ticket as opposed to independents who are otherwise also saying they support them. And I see that the competition is still going to come up the whole week. You know, and eventually by the end of the week, the independent candidates will actually see that they are truly independent and they cannot cling to the strength of any political party.
Wow. Finally.
So good. In fact, it's good I've met Madam Buyo here in this debate, and I think among the people I've met in this show, I think she's the most ardent supporter of the Prime Minister Raila Odinga. And the danger of such royalty is that if you love somebody so much, you may not see the negatives of that person. Because you all see this is the right thing, this is the way to go. I think the time comes when you tell your king is naked. If you have to advance, you have to tell the king, yeah, you are naked, yeah, you can move here, do this. You can change strategies to win. But this strict jacket thinking may not be very good for moving forward. What I'm saying is that this week, we expect the game to shape up. The game of ODM is going to shape up. The game of Jubilee is going to shape up.
When you say ODM, you mean NASA?
Okay, the game of NASA and ODM are going to shape up, because I think they are the same. To me, they're the same. It's going to shape up, and you're going to see clearly the direction they are going to take. The two parties are going to stick. As for myself, I'm in the Jubilee Express, the team that is supporting the President's Express, because it doesn't have many stops. It is not stopping at MCA, it is not stopping at MP or governor, it is stopping at the State House. These are the guys can fight for themselves. As for us and my team, we shall be very busy, because we are going to the Rift Valley, we are going to Naivasha, we are going to Joro and Moro, and then next week we go to Kirinyaga and Nyandarua. So we are into it, and we have enough teams in Jubilee which are going to send to various parts of the country, so that this, my friends here, do not say that Uhuru is one section. Uhuru is in one section because others are covered. The other thing I would like to say finally is that as a Kenyan, I would not like to see somebody dying because of politics. I would hate to see somebody insulting or fighting somebody else on my sake. So I would like to ask Kenyans, please, let's take politics wherever it is, and by the end of the day, we shall have one Kenya. There is nobody here in this country who qualifies to make us fight each other. Let us have peaceful elections.
Thank you so much, Jogo Barua, MP Gishugu, Rosa Bui, Deputy Organizing Secretary, ODM, also the woman representative candidate for Kisumu County, and Jonathan Mweke, Deputy Governor, Nairobi, helping us look at the headlines this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Power Breakfast still continues. It is a hashtag to use. Even as we continue getting more music from Carlos Kiba, my colleague Willis Waburi is on standby with another very inspirational interview later on. Today, Willis is hosting poets. You have to stand by for that. From me, it's good morning.